Looks like Alabama has their offensive coordinator. And to be honest with you, I thought Ryan Grubb would be the next head coach at Washington. But it's good to be wrong sometimes because it's going to help Alabama out, particularly in the pass game. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Let's get this party started by saying a hearty Roll Tide. What do you say, everybody, with Big Elmo? I'm Mick. It's the Mick and Big Elmo show. Big Elmo and Mick show. We got a show here. That's Brett Elmore, and I'm Mick Gillespie. Great to have all of you guys hanging out with us. At Brett Elmore Show on Twitter, on the socials. I'm at Broadcaster Mick. What's up, brother?
How are you? Roll Tide.
And Roll Tide right back at you. And don't forget, we're now on Facebook at Bama Tailgate Show. All right, Brett, a lot going on right now. Popped up, had to do a show because it appears that DeBoer is getting his tag team partner. And we know about tag teams, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Hawk and Animal, one of the great tag teams of all time. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, one of the great tag teams. The Usos. Oh, that's wrestling. In football, the tag team has been DeBoer and Grubb. We figured that Grubb would be a guy that Washington would have hired as their next head coach. But according to his statement, he wanted that job. They didn't give it to him. And all the reports are now, and my sources are saying, look out, Tuscaloosa, the guy you didn't get last year, is coming in Ryan Grubb.
Yeah, and it surprised me, too, that he's not getting the Washington job. But you're talking about a guy and a terrific tag team. They have been together for quite some time, So, they came in most recently in this Washington job. And let's face it, Washington was a dismal team with a dismal offense. They were 73rd in passing when they got to Washington. And now you look at it at the end of the year, they were near the top of passing attacks in the country. I think ranked second. And the guy can do it. Not only did Alabama want him last year, he was pursued by Saban as the possible offensive coordinator, but also Texas A&M wanted him.
Right. They could have used him. Hey, maybe Jimbo still has a job if he hires Ryan Grubb. So Grubb, though, and DeBoer, they go back and they've been together for a while and then got separated and then came back together again. But as he takes over Alabama's offense, I think it's exciting. He's going to have probably the most talented set of running backs that he's had with Jam Miller, with Richard Young, with Justice Haynes, if they all stick around. And he's taking over for Tommy Rees. I thought Tommy Rees's offense was good, but then in the bowl game, watching them continue to, struggle when they could have done a lot better running the ball than throwing it. Sometimes I felt like, you know what, I would have liked to have had a guy that maybe had a different vision. Not complaining. I thought he did a good job. But apparently Tommy Rees is following Tavarius Robinson over to Georgia. So Georgia trying to figure out how they got beaten by Alabama, and everything that Georgia has, they plucked right out of Tuscaloosa from Kirby right on down the line. And it'll be the last time that they'll be able to steal Nick Saban assistants because he's not going to have any more assistants. But good luck to him. Obviously being co-offensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator basically means you have a title, but there's another person that has the main job. Don't get that wrong. They're not defensive and offensive coordinators. They just have those titles, and I'm sure they're paid for it, but they're down the line.
That's right. And, of course, Grubb, I'm glad we're going to have the guy, dating back with Coach DeBoer to Sioux Falls, and he was the offensive line coach at Eastern Michigan. He was and at Fresno State, and then he eventually became the Fresno State offensive coordinator, and then went on to Washington. And also interestingly enough, guy has a background in strength and conditioning too, and in the early part of his career. But we mentioned Texas A&M and Alabama kind of going after him last year. Washington made a very smart move and said, "Hey, we're doubling down on you." They made him one of the highest paid coordinators in the country. As a matter of fact, he was second highest paid, only behind the offensive coordinator there at Clemson, Garrett Riley. So he was making $2 million a year at Washington. Obviously, Alabama can pay that. During this coaching cycle, his name has been hot, just not only for that Washington job, but openings at Boise State and San Diego State and Indiana. He was linked to some of those, but going to be good to have him in T-Town.
Well, it's going to be good for Kalen DeBoer to have him, because this is a job that there's going to be a lot of scrutiny this first season, and he's going to have to live up to a standard that really is unfair. I mean, look, there's only one Nick Saban,
right.
and everyone's going to hold him to the Alabama standard, and maybe that's good. But even this year's football team, I felt sorry for them sometimes, because they were punished because they were trying to live up to the success that Nick Saban had in the past. So any ammo that Coach DeBoer can have to help him kind of get there, including Ryan Grubb, is going to make a difference in his ability to have success. So I didn't see this coming. I thought that Washington would hire him as their head coach. They're going to have that $12 million, Brett, as part of the buyout to use towards finding a new coach. If they were smart, they would use that to help build their coaching, maybe towards NIL. I think that's a fair price to pay. It's just like in soccer or in baseball, when you go and take a star player from another team, you are supposed to compensate them. These are all based on contracts. But at the same time, I mean, I think that it's fair. Washington is giving up a great coach, and now they have a little bit more money to go find someone that has head coaching experience. So that's obviously why Ryan Grubb isn't their head coach. But I think there was a lot of talk there, and Washington decided to go another direction, and it's benefited Alabama. So looking forward to that. Now, changing the subject, the question is, what offensive weapons is Grubb going to have to work with? And one guy that will always be remembered at Alabama is Isaiah Bond. Well, today he has transferred to Texas. He called it a business decision. Obviously, he was on the receiving end of that famous gravedigger play, 4th and 31. I liked him. I thought sometimes maybe he could have been a little bit more humble with his comments,
A little more diplomatic.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, some players are like that. I didn't see him as a star player yet, but I thought he had the potential to get there. He made a lot of good plays, but he disappeared some in games too. And it's a debate whether Alabama didn't do a good job of getting him the ball, or he didn't do a good job of getting open, but he'll do that in Texas now. Obviously, I'm sad to see him go, and I wish that he would have taken the call from Coach DeBoer, but this was all business decision. Basically means that he basically wanted the money.
That, and he also reportedly said that the big reason was Coach Saban retiring. And and the word is that Coach DeBoer reached out to him and he couldn't get a phone call back. And that's kind of disturbing to me. I would at least hear the guy out and see what he has to say. But Bama fans, we all remember that play, and we remember what he's done this past season. But one player does not make a team.
No,
and Mick, I put together sort of a list of our wide receiver room as of today, and that would be Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice is still with us. Emmanuel Henderson, Jalen Hell, he's a sophomore. And then we've got a good group of freshmen in that room. Cole Adams is in there. Jaron Hamilton's in there. Amari Jefferson in there. Rico Scott. Aaron Hampton. That's a big room full of 4- and 5-star players.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a couple of the familiar names there, of course, are the two juniors and Kendrick Law and Kobe Prentice, and they'll have to take over that leadership role. Most of the other guys are young. Henderson's a redshirt sophomore, so that's a young room. But there's some playmakers there, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. And love the loyalty from the coaches that built their career at Alabama. Kirby Smart taking all the assistants, and then Steve Sarkisian, digging in right away to take one of the star receivers.
It's like a pack of vultures that's surrounding Tuscaloosa, and they're all wearing different jerseys, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they did it to Saban even when he was coaching at Alabama, but that there really is no honor among thieves, and I mean, and we'll see what happens. But as I say that, I get the business. I understand that this is all part of the way that the world is right now in college athletics, and it's the NCAA's fault. There's no structure, there's no rules, and this is what you're going to get. But you'd love to see maybe a little bit of appreciation for the universities that made these millionaires. He's coaching millionaires, but they don't care, I guess that's just the way it is. So I don't know. I'm not mad. I'm just laughing. As we move on, though, when DeBoer and Grubb get their coaching staff together, they're going to go talk to Ryan. They're going to talk to Ryan Williams, and they're going to try to get him on board. And don't be surprised if Alabama doesn't fill the spot with a wide receiver that comes in with better numbers than Isaiah Bond had. I bet you they'll end up turning this into a positive when it's all said and done. But I love the positivity that I see with these new coaches. I'm really excited about the future at Alabama. Obviously, things have changed, and I'm not a guy that likes a lot of change. But when you start looking back at the other schools that have had their coaching, whether their coaches have been fired or they retired, this has been about as smooth as you could ask. Yeah,
really. And Coach DeBoer, I mean, he said he really wants to have his assistants in place in 24 hours. He wants to move quick.
Love it.
And I mean, he wants to move quick, and I don't blame him. And there may be some others from his staff at Washington that comes on board. Their tight ends coach is rumored. Nick Sheridan, the offensive line coach, has been rumored. And the receivers coach has been rumored, Scott Huff and Jamarcus Shepard, respectively. So, and too, like you mentioned, the transfer portal goes both ways. There may be some guys come in too that may be just as good, or if not better than Bond.
And remember this, guys, and this will be what I'll leave you on. There's going to be more coaching moves. Michigan's going to end up with a new coach. Who do they hire? Maybe LSU's coach. There's going to be some more movement between now and the next month with what's going on in the NFL and as they start to plug coaches. So this is all part of it. I don't know who's staying and who's going. I don't know yet who the defensive coordinator is going to be yet, but I'm telling you that DeBoer has hit the ground running. Also, guys, I got to tell you, if you didn't check out the phone call yet from Rich in Seattle, he called us right after DeBoer's press conference. I've been doing broadcasting for a long, long time. It's the best phone call I've ever had. And you could tell it was heartfelt. He talked about his love and appreciation for Coach DeBoer, and he was expressing that to Alabama fans. The call has, I don't know if it's gone viral, but it really has gotten a lot of a response from you guys. If you haven't seen it yet, I posted it on the channel, and I say that you should check it out, share it with your other Alabama friends, because it gives you a lot of hope. And all I've heard about Coach Kalen DeBoer are great things. And what a good guy he is and what a great coach he is. And not just the fact that he's 114-4 or something, or 110-4. What's the record?
Whatever it is, some sort of
a lot to a little.
A lot to a little, just an amazing record.
So amazing. That's 104-12. There you go. So I want to get that right. Still amazing record, but it's more than just winning. It's just that he's a fantastic guy that cares deeply for his players. So, all right, well, let me get out of here, Brett. We've done it. We've told everyone all the breaking news. What I want to say, though, is do not be deterred by the transfer of Isaiah Bond. We can still relive the Gravedigger play over and over again, and just remember that it was Jalen Milroe that made it all happen. And you can get that at newlifeart.com. Promo code Bama Tailgate. You get 15% off one regularly priced item. Take advantage of that. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Share with your friends. And thank you, Brett, and Roll Tide to you guys.